Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about how to talk so teens will listen. So in this video, we're going to talk about what teens want and what parents want when they do their talking, and how to create a communication pattern so that teens will actually listen when you talk. So let's talk about what teens want when they communicate with you. I think oftentimes when we communicate with other people, we just think about what we want to get across to the other person, or we think about what we want that other person to think or to do, but we don't actually factor in what they're hoping to get out of communication. So when a teen communicates with their parents, what they want is they actually want to feel a sense of bonding and belonging. They want to feel like they're maturing too. That's a really important thing. And so those two things together sometimes gets parents confused. So for bonding and belonging, a lot of adults will go toward kind of babying and little kid type interactions. And then, maturing, it's like, you can do this, and here, try this new thing. And so they don't know how to mix those two things together. But it is absolutely possible to communicate with your teen in a way where they can feel that bonding and belonging. Right? Maybe you're putting your hand on their shoulder, maybe around them, you touch them a little bit. Just give them that, I'm bonding with you, I care about you. And then having a conversation with them that almost seems adult to adult. They want to know that you do respect their age and their experience, even though they're not parents yet. And obviously you're not going to put them on the same equal footing as you, because that would destroy the roles and the parental authority. But you do want to make sure that they see that you respect that they are growing and learning, and they can solve more of their problems than they once were able to do. Let me share an experience with you. One time, one of my children had a circumstance that I found out about. I wasn't there, I didn't see it, but I heard that they did something. They kissed a person at a time when they should have been doing classwork and other things. And also, that just wasn't appropriate because they didn't even know the person that well. Now, this person I knew was a good person, trying to have good boundaries, but probably got sucked into a circumstance. So I decided, okay, how am I going to talk to this teen about this situation? They need to know that I'm not judgmental of them. They need to know that I understand what it's like to be a teen, but they also need to know that, they should be examining these circumstances a little bit better and making better choices. How do I do that? I ended up asking the person to do something for me that was in their area of expertise. I said, hey, I need you to do this. In fact, I'd even like to pay you to do this. And they're like, okay, that's great. And then as they were doing that, I started to talk to them. I had them alone, and I said, I heard that something happened the other day at this school event. I was a little concerned about you because I wondered how you were after that happened. And we haven't had a chance really to talk yet. And then I said, before you even tell me anything, I want you to know I've been in situations like that before. And this is something that I know about those situations. I know how you feel after sometimes can feel like this. And I mentioned to them, what I did for myself to make sure that I wasn't putting myself in a circumstance that I would regret afterward. And I talked about regret. And this person said to me, yeah, you're right. I really don't care that much about that other person, and I should have never done that. I think I just got caught up in the moment. I probably didn't have the boundaries and stuff. And so then we talked about boundaries and how to set up the circumstance so that they didn't get themselves in that type of predicament again. And then this teenager said to me, and I'll actually call him a youth, because the way he responded was way better than teenager. It was youth. And he said, I really appreciate you talking to me like this. I appreciate you showing me that you valued my expertise in something else that I did, and also having a really adult conversation about this. I said, yeah, my pleasure. And he said, I'm really sorry for what happened, and I'll try to do better on that. I said, okay. And everything was fine. And we were closer after that conversation than we ever even were before, ever. That was a pivotal conversation in our relationship. So what did I do in that conversation? Why would this particular youth that I was working with, listen to me? Well, number one, I showed that I valued something that he could contribute. I showed that I needed him, that he was capable of doing things, and he wasn't just a kid to me, that he was more than that. And then you know what else I did? I told him exactly like I would talk to an adult. I talked to him about what the circumstance was, what I had heard. I also made it so that he got the full scoop from me too. So if you have subscribed to this channel already, then you know I really believe in being deliberate. This channel is called the Teaching Self-Government channel, and it's all about deliberate communication, deliberate relationship development. That's what's required for self-government. So I was deliberate with him, and I always have been with my children. Okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is what we need to talk about. What do you need to know about this? What happened there? And I just bring things out on the table, and I don't attach any emotion to them. I think that's one of the biggest things is I stay calm. If the parent stays calm, then the teen is more likely to open up. If the teen knows that the communication is safe because the parent is not going to get emotional at them, then they are going to be much more successful. Now be careful, here's a little warning, don't tell the teenager every single thing in your head. Don't tell them every thought, don't tell them every emotion you experienced, don't tell them every single bad thing you did from your childhood. They don't need to know all that stuff. They're not your sounding board. You're trying to be their sounding board, and you're trying to do some simple instruction. Let them know that you understand, share enough experience that they get that. Let them know that you want to hear what they have to say and understand what options they think could be good. And then leave it at that. Keep the conversation simple. One of the worst things that you could do, or one of the things that maybe I should say would turn your teenager off and make them not want to listen, is if you just start lecturing. Nobody wants to be lectured. People want to learn the real stuff. They want to learn it right now. They want to feel bonded to you while you're talking to them about it. They want to see their problem, figure out how to solve their problem, and then they want to move on. They do not want somebody to tell them too much information that doesn't seem like it's relevant. And lectures are often for the person who is giving the lecture. They want to tell certain things, or they don't know what they're going to say yet, and so they just keep going to get to that place where they feel like finally they got it out, whatever it was, and then the other person just has to sit there and listen to it. They feel ill-used. Don't do that to your teenager. That's going to close them off, not have them be more open. When they do share things with you, make sure that you're not shocked if it's something that you weren't expecting. Go, oh, okay, well, tell me more about that. Ask questions. Let them know that even if they shared something that they think you might be worried about or shocked by, that you're not. That you are okay talking about absolutely everything with them. This also lets them know that you're a safe person to talk to and to open up with. Probably one of the biggest things that you can do is teach your teenager one of the skills of self-government. Now, there are many skills of self-government. There are so many videos on this channel that teach the different skills and principles of self-government, so be sure to go and check some of those things out. One of the biggest things you can teach them is how to disagree appropriately. When a person disagrees appropriately, they look at the person or the situation, they keep a calm face, voice, and body. They say that they understand the other person's point of view. They share their point of view, then they listen to what the other person has to say. They say okay and drop the subject. When they do all of the steps to this skill, they will be understood more. Now, of course, not every single person cares if someone disagrees appropriately, but at least with you, you can promise every time you ask, may I disagree appropriately? I will stop and listen. I will make sure that you know that I want to hear what you have to say. If you do that, they're more likely to listen to you. So when you talk to your teenager, make sure that they know that they can also express their opinion back to you by using the disagree appropriately skill. Another thing that you might want to do that will help you have a better opportunity for them to listen to you is to pre-teach about the conversation. That seems a little weird, like I'm trying to have a conversation. Why do I have to tell someone beforehand what I'm going to talk about and then talk about it? Because it helps with the nerves and anxiety. It's actually really smart to keep your conversations as predictable as possible. So if you said to your teenager, hey, can we have a 10-minute talk? And they say, okay, and then say, in these 10 minutes, what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk to you about a behavior that I've observed, and then get your opinion on what you think would be a good way to solve the behavioral problem. Because I bet you have some good ideas. Now they know, oh, Mom is coming into this conversation with a collaborative mindset. She wants my ideas. She's not just going to tell me I'm bad and what to do. And she wants to stick it to 10 minutes, which means it's going to be short and sweet. She's going to ask my opinion. I'm going to come up with solutions. And then we're going to move forward from here. Suddenly, it's not a scary environment anymore because I did the pre-teaching about that. Now, when it comes to correcting behaviors, it's also important to pre-teach about how you will do those corrections because those do need to happen. You're not going to always put it on your teen to come up with the solution to their own problem. Sometimes you have to follow through and be consistent with what you told them would happen before, especially it could even be something they came up with in a conversation with you previously, and now you have to follow through with whatever consequence that they may have earned, and they have to be willing to accept it. So pre-teaching is going to help you with that as well. Probably one of the most important things that you could do if you want your teen to open up to you and to listen to you when you talk to them is be calm. And I have some help for you with that. So in the description below this video, there is a link to my Calm Parenting Toolkit. The Calm Parenting Toolkit has 10 tools for calmness that will help you be calm and help you work them toward being calm too, which is going to be useful. So click on the link in the description below this video. It says teachselfgov.com/toolkit, and you can have that Calm Parenting Toolkit today. I'll see you there.